following contest, scheduled for one fall, is for the World Wrestling Federation Championship. About to come down the aisle is the challenger. Weighing 270 pounds, the leader of the Nation of Domination, Faarooq.
And there you see the entire nation.
By any means necessary. That's their motto, and there's certainly strength in numbers.
And you sort of get the feeling, JR, I got that feeling down in the pit of my stomach here that with all of this outside the ring and with the mental state of the Undertaker, this blackmail that Paul Bearer is holding over the Undertaker, you really sort of get the impression that the WWF title more than likely could change hands here tonight.
I don't know how the Undertaker could prepare for this in earnest because of this blackmail business by that heinous Paul Bearer. How could the champion concentrate on Faarooq? And folks, let me tell you, Faarooq is a load.
Oh yeah, he is that. Standing by now, ladies and gentlemen, Doc Hendricks. Doc?
Okay, thank you, Vince. Undertaker, first of all, I think it's important to say that I don't think there's anybody in the world that doesn't know that you're back with Paul Bearer because it's against your will. You've been blackmailed into this situation. But from a personal perspective, and I think I speak for millions around the world, I think it's important that you do know that we have always loved you and we will always love you no matter what this horrific secret is. But how has this changed your mental preparation for tonight's title match?
Doc.
Zip it, Lazarus. And you, Mr. Microphone, you keep your nose out of our business. Let me reiterate one more thing. As long as I have that secret above your head, dead man, you'll do what I say, when I say it, and any time that I say it. And tonight's a very, very important match. And you're going to do what I say. You'll do what I say. Do you do what I say?
All right, thank you very much. Doc Hendricks there with a little overzealous, I think, in terms of his comments, speaking for himself only, as relates to The Undertaker. A lot of people are concerned about The Undertaker. Except, or maybe mostly, that man. Imagine how troubled The Undertaker must be. He stated recently that when he passed on, he probably wouldn't be going to hell because he's living it now. The Undertaker to defend the World Wrestling Federation Championship. Faarooq could very well become the first African-American champion. Others have had chances, but Faarooq confident that he will be the first World Wrestling Federation champion of color. And he has played the race card, make no mistake about it. The Nation of Domination members in the ring, all of them awaiting The Undertaker.
Faarooq having a huddle with his men. The former four-time All-American at Florida State University, a man who finished 5th in the Heisman Trophy balloting, having a conference with his men.
Meanwhile, in the ring, Paul Bear giving The Undertaker an earful.
The Undertaker must hate this.
What do you think that slug Paul Bear is holding over Undertaker's head?
My God, I don't know, but it must be true. That's what scares me. It must be so terrible, but in the same respect, it must be so true.
Look out from behind! Paul Bear outsmarted himself. In a tirade there with The Undertaker, he left open The Undertaker's back, and Faarooq took advantage from the get-go.
Faarooq is at 100% after suffering the separated shoulder and the punctured lung at WrestleMania 13 at the hands of Ahmed Johnson. He's 100% now, is the challenger.
Uh-oh. Look at The Undertaker manhandling Faarooq. Upstairs, downstairs. Look at those fists fly.
Not since Andre the Giant has there ever been a phenom that even compares to The Undertaker in the WWF in my book.
Certainly not as far as dominance is concerned. Oh. Yet, with the troubles experienced by The Undertaker as of late, it could be the Dominator. That is the finishing maneuver, the hold applied by Faarooq that could take him on to victory.
The Undertaker's got to focus on Faarooq. He's got to express himself with all that hate and venom he has for Paul Bear. The Undertaker must direct that toward this man, Faarooq.
And the first cover of the match, to no avail.
There were several years there at Florida State where his name then was Ron Simmons, but Faarooq was the most dominating defensive lineman in all of college football.
And again,
All he's got to do is hook his leg. 1, 2, 3.
Paul Bear giving instruction as though he has been a participant.
Power slam.
Into hooking the leg.
The Undertaker is 6'10", weighs 328 pounds.
Get out,
And my point in that is that how strong is Faarooq? Faarooq took The Undertaker over like The Undertaker was a lightweight.
Faarooq and Ahmed Johnson have had some wars. Oh no, behind the officials, back like a pack of wolves.
Officiating is so important in this matchup, and I'm surprised that WWF officials are allowing the nation to stay out here in mass. I wouldn't want to be wearing a striped shirt right now in the WWF. They have not had a great night.
No, indeed. I would suggest that we are likely by tomorrow, as Gorilla Monsoon, convalescing, nonetheless on duty watching this matchup, is likely to hand out some substantial fines and/or suspensions tomorrow. Oh! Oh, yeah!
The big foot right to the jaw of the challenger, Faarooq, by the WWF champion, the man from Death Valley, The Undertaker.
Undertaker winding up Faarooq.
Want to see some agility from a 6'10.5" athlete? Take a look.
Oh, did you see that?
The Undertaker with that crossbody, that plancha off the top on 4 or 5 men. Sawville's knocked down.
Undertaker dominating the nation on the outside, but now Faarooq spinning the Undertaker around. Oh! Let's take another look. All right, here we go. Replay action. Watch this. On the left side of your screen, and he just bowled him over like a bunch of bowling pins.
You don't see too many near 7-footers use the planche off the top rope. The entire nation almost seceded from the Providence Civic Center.
Here we go again. And it backfires.
A difference maker. That move is a difference maker.
And the Nation, what they did, JR, there, they split themselves. Some of the Nation members on the far side of the ring distracted the official. Other Nation members over on the near side.
Savio Vega and Crush high-fiving each other. I saw on the far side of the ring. The game plan is obvious here.
How about this for a black man?
Suplex. No denying the athletic credentials of Faarooq.
You've got Faarooq and a half a dozen others with one thing on their mind, and that's to beat The Undertaker any way they can, and more specifically, to leave here with a WWF title.
And Paul Bearer continuing to yell at The Undertaker, to shout instructions.
Paul Bearer, he ain't no Joe Torre. He ain't no Jimmy Johnson. He's a big pain in the fanny over here, distracting his own man.
And do a cover. Again, the officiating.
Wait a minute, wait a minute.
Come on. Has been brought into question, justifiably so, a number of times tonight, and continues to be.
I don't care how big and strong you are, when someone robs you of your oxygen, you're going to get in trouble, and you're going to stay in trouble as long as it happens. Oh, I think we need 2 referees out here.
I think you need 4 or 5. Oh, no.
Those are steel steps. Right back in Faarooq's jaw. He may have lost some teeth on that one.
By any means necessary. That's the motto of the Nation of Domination. They will take the WWF title by any means necessary. And you brought up, JR, sometime earlier tonight that there has been dissension in the ranks with the Nation of Domination. And that is true, but nonetheless, Faarooq has galvanized them for one night, for one match. They are all together here, and they all, thus far, certainly have had some degree of input in this match.
Look at this right here. Right back in Faarooq's face. The steps. A big old mouthful of steel. That certainly is hard to digest.
On his feet, Faarooq off the rope. Oh no.
A pile driver. Faarooq, if he can capitalize now, he's the new champion.
And Faarooq with the cover. Oh.
Undertaker gets that shoulder up. We got a near fall situation here. The WWF title on the line. Over 10,000 fans on hand in Providence, Rhode Island. And we're happy you're with us wherever you are on pay-per-view. Our fans in the UK staying up with us late. We're live in the UK. We're live in North America. That huge arm of Faarooq. You know, they retired his jersey number 50 at Florida State. He wins tonight. They may name the stadium after this guy.
And Faarooq with his foot on the bottom rope there, trying to gain additional leverage. And we've got that forearm there close underneath the Undertaker's chin as Paul Bearer is looking on. And Paul Bearer could get that sinking feeling, just as we had before. Paul Bearer could get the feeling that he's watching the Undertaker slowly but surely being taken apart by the whole nation, not just Faarooq.
Well, Paul Bearer may be a big old pimple on the rear end of the world, but the last thing he wants to have happen is for the Undertaker to lose that WWF title. The WWF title means some money. It means a lot of money for the wrestler and for the manager.
And thus far, all of the offense as of late has been supplied by Faarooq and company. But now the Undertaker starts to make a move.
Faarooq with so much upper body strength, this reverse chin lock with that kind of power turns into from an elementary maneuver to one very, very strenuous, very, very painful. And almost a version of the Stone Cold Stunner by the Undertaker used as a counter on Faarooq.
And that may have hurt the Undertaker as much as it did Faarooq. Off the rope, Undertaker, no!
An airborne Undertaker is not good at this stage of the match. Dead Man Airways just got grounded.
And Paul Bearer on the outside pleading with the Undertaker. Faarooq on the inside taking care of business. Undertaker set up now by Faarooq.
A gut wrench. Going for another pile driver.
Trying to get him up and can't. There's a reversal. Front up front. And now. And if the Undertaker loses the WWF Championship tonight, you can bet that Paul Bearer tomorrow will spill the beans.
There's no doubt about that. That's a very good point. Paul Bearer is going to be quiet as long as the Undertaker has the title. I think that's a very good, sound analogy.
Undertaker reversing it. No.
Power slam by the champion. The WWF champion turns the table again on the challenger, Faarooq.
Paul Bearer on the outside of the ring. Again, shouting instruction. And as long as they keep this match in the ring, the Undertaker will have as much of an advantage, certainly as Faarooq does, but once it goes outside the ring, where all the Nation of Domination members are, that's when it turns around. No, Undertaker got nothing but air.
Faarooq had that move well scouted. That was a patented vintage Undertaker offensive maneuver. Leaving his feet, delivering the clothesline. We've seen it so many times.
You gotta get up. You can't be sitting on your butt. You gotta get up. Get up. Come on. Get up. Get up.
Paul Bearer screaming at the Undertaker. How much of that abuse can he take? Paul Bearer attempting to humiliate the Undertaker.
Wait a minute. Clarence Mason just got pushed down by Crush. And now Salvio's just shoved. What the hell's going on?
And Faarooq.
He's a second time.
Undertaker scoops up Faarooq.
Tombstone! The tombstone! The Undertaker wins! He wins! He wins!
Wait a minute, Savio Vega just came in. And Crush goes up and down.
Domination seems to be crumbling, seemingly disintegrating.
And still World Wrestling Federation Champion, The Undertaker.
Well, The Undertaker has pulled it off, and I might add, against great odds with the Nation of Domination. Wait a minute, Paul Bearer.
Paul Bearer is demanding.
What's he demanding?
He's demanding.
Look at Paul Bearer get right in Undertaker's face. Wouldn't you love to see The Undertaker tombstone Paul drive Paul Bearer?
What is Paul Bearer doing? Paul Bearer is humiliating The Undertaker, who just went through a war to retain the WWF title.
Paul Bearer demanding that The Undertaker now this is getting ridiculous. How much damage must you do to a competitor? You may not agree with Faarooq. Nonetheless, he gave it everything he had here tonight.
If The Undertaker doesn't do what Paul Bearer tells him, then you know Paul Bearer's will get the microphone and let the world know what that secret is that Paul Bearer is holding
come
over
on.
The Undertaker's head.
I gotta tell you, whatever it is, you really have to question whether or not The Undertaker should be doing this. Wait a minute, wait a minute.
What are you doing? Tell him, something. Listen to him. What are you for? Do that. Get together. Get together. Talking to you.
What the heck? What in the...
Well, Paul Bearer can't believe it. Ahmed Johnson came down to try to talk some sense into The Undertaker. Ahmed was trying to explain to The Undertaker, don't listen to Paul Bearer. What's the matter with you? What are you doing to Faarooq? What are you doing to that man?
But I think more importantly, why, Undertaker, are you listening to Paul Bearer? What choice does The Undertaker have? Hell, he's being blackmailed.
And The Undertaker is disgusted with himself.